Hey, my name is Scott Dawson. I own a suite of companies called Optionbee. We are a real estate investing and sales company. I've been an agent for over 20 years, an investor for over 30. We've done anything from listing properties as realtors to fix and flip, ground up builds, vacant land deals. We've done just about everything. Currently, we are working on building the seven-figure circle, which is a community where we can bring private money lenders and our investor groups and people that we know that are working on projects and bridge the gap so everybody can work together and make money. And our ultimate goal with that is to build the largest private money lending and investor community in the country and make over 1,000 millionaires.
Lights flash loud, boom. Hearts race, no room.
Everybody, my name is Scott Dawson. I'm a real estate agent and investor here in Arizona. I am a native of Arizona. I've lived here my whole life. As a younger person growing up and going to school, I really hated school. I actually dropped out of school in the 9th grade and have always been more of an entrepreneur, dreamer, visionary type of person. So I've been hitting the streets since the 9th grade in sales. I had a short stint working at a 9-to-5 job at the post office. And since then, all I've been doing is looking at buying properties or working out how to work on them and fix and flip them. So having dropped out of school, what I've been doing out there is just kind of more of entrepreneurial things, but always in the real estate field. So the real estate market's always been interesting to me since I was very little. I remember being a young kid and my grandfather giving me cassette tapes of an investor back in the days on how to flip properties. And so it was something I was always listening to, something I always had in my mind. So I bought my first property in the early 90s. I think it was like 92, 93, our first property we bought. That one we did buy and fix up to live in. But in my 20s, I did do some fix and flips. Back in those days, I didn't have access to the internet. There wasn't there was no Google, there was no Zillow. The MLS was pages of books like this where the papers were there and the agents would take them in. Now, as they sold, they would actually print them out and put them in there. I used to get things like at the title company, I would get a printed out list of foreclosures, and then I would go door knocking on those properties with an old school map and just me knocking in a little script that I used to use on talking to the people. And so a lot of that kind of cut my teeth and got me a little tougher, a little stronger in my sales skills. And it also got me to understand the real estate market a little better because I was always out in the field. So I was always driving around seeing what other builders were doing and what other people were doing because I had my hands really in the meat of things. So it really helped me grow. And later on, I got my real estate license, mainly because I couldn't find a real estate agent to quite understand what I was trying to do. There wasn't a lot of agents that understood the fix and flip model or what I was looking for or what kind of offers I was trying to make on properties. So sometimes some of those offers might have been creative. And what you'll find is sometimes in the real estate world is not a lot of real estate agents want to be involved in the creative side of things because it takes work. It takes time and brain power. They'd rather just keep it simple and just list properties on the market and get their commission. But there's so many angles in the real estate market. So I went and got my license because of that. After getting my license, I really got caught up in the real estate sales side of things as agents. And I ended up owning a franchise here locally and had teams of agents that worked for us. And we sold hundreds of homes a year right before the crash. And so when the crash happened is when I decided to maybe get out of the real estate agent world, meaning I didn't want to have a team and a brokerage anymore. It started getting a little old for me. One of the problems with having kind of more of a visionary mind is that once you build something and it's running, it's no longer that much fun. The process is always the fun part. And so there's been a lot of times in my life where I built something up and then kind of just let it go because, all right, we're done with that. Let's move on to the next thing. As a young man, that was a problem. As an old man, it's no longer as much of a problem. But when I was younger, that was always something that was hard, was building something up and then being kind of bored with it because it was working. I wanted to get back to zero and then build it back up again. So that's always more the fun part of being an entrepreneur, I think, and a visionary mind. So, but I've been through it all. I've been through crashes. We went through the .com crash. I remember the .com crash when it was going on. I remember buying my first computer and being laughed at because people wondered what the heck I was going to do with that thing. But before anybody had them in their houses, the real estate crash was a big deal. But the biggest thing is knowing how to maneuver. And the crash taught me something really important is that it doesn't matter what the market's doing. What matters is what you're doing as a real estate agent or investor. When the crash happened, we actually maneuvered and did really well because we created what's called a short sale division. And so at the time I called it the cave. But if you ever seen like the Wolf of Wall Street and those kind of movies, the guys with the call centers and they got their headsets on, I had guys with headsets, they wore their suits, they even smoked cigarettes inside the room, and we called it the cave. And all they did all day was on the phone with banks negotiating short sales on properties that we would take. So we had people that worked with us that would go and take upfront fees to take a listing on because we were going to help them get a short sale on their property and get them out of the foreclosure process and then sell that deal to somebody else at a nice price. So we did really well with that. We really headed up a short sale area. We used to teach other companies on how to do short sales. We became so good at that. And so really the crash benefited us. Honestly, it sounds terrible, but the crash benefited us as real estate agents and investors. When other agents and investors were kind of out of the game, we were still in it because we just maneuvered. So to me, real estate investing is a lot like being a surfer. So if you're out there surfing, you're always looking for the waves, and once you catch one, you ride it, right? But that wave doesn't last forever. And the real estate market's the exact same way. You're always got to be a surfer. You got to have a feel for the ocean. You got to have a feel for what's happening in the market. And you have to understand which waves to ride and which ones to let go. I think so. It's really important. And the ones who do well are the ones who just are good at surfing. And today, we've decided that we are going to make another shift. So one of the things that I'm noticing, so anytime I'm in the market and I'm doing things, so I was kind of semi-retired, not doing a whole lot. And I decided I'm seeing there's a gap in the marketplace. I know a lot of real estate agents. I know a lot of real estate investors here locally. I know them well. And I know people who have private money that want to invest. And so what I started noticing is there's this gap. And then what we want to do is fill this gap. That is private money lenders. These are doctors, attorneys. There's also, just people who have careers and have either a nest egg in self-directed IRAs, retirement plans, or they have some money in their house that they're wanting to invest, and they watch shows on fix and flip shows and all these different things, and they want to invest in real estate, but they just don't really know how, and they don't know what to do. Well, we do, because I have this other group of people that are investors, and they're building houses, they're building multifamily, luxury, they'll do land deals. We do a little bit of everything, ADUs, which we can get into later and explain what that is. But what I wanted to do now is I'm back in the market. We're building a brand new community. It's called the 7-Figure Circle, and it's two-pronged. We're going to be working with people who are private money lenders who want to raise their money with as little as $5,000. You can get into those investments. We pull these people together. We pull the other people over here, the investors. So this is the other side of it that we have here, which we have in place, who have projects that they want to fund, that they want to build, and they are willing to offer really nice percentages to the investors in order to do that. And what we're going to do is bridge the gap. And we're going to put that together. And what our goal is with the 7-Figure Circle is to have the largest private money lending and investor community in the nation and create thousands of millionaires on both sides all across the country. If you want to know more about the 7-Figure Circle and how you can benefit from us, make sure to follow us, subscribe on all of our social platforms, and we'll keep you updated with what's going on. Hey, this is Scott Dawson, real estate investor and founder of the 7-Figure Circle. Do not forget to subscribe on all of our social medias at Scott Dawson _US on all platforms.